have a kind of a consensus, this is what she's going to do, and so we're going to hold her accountable for it, or as a person.
And the other part I wanted to add was to flesh out Paul's vision of the world is that it's also about the ways that board can support the superintendent to achieve the goals. So it's not just we expect you to be accountable and we'll measure to this. If you don't do it,
no. We have to provide the resources. We have to provide the support. That's why it's collaborative rather than.
So I guess then the question is to what of all of this interesting discussion is this a draft that you're presenting that then you'll take this feedback and come back with another version, or I'm just unclear about where we go?
Normally what we've done is we haven't actually, this is the first time we've been as detailed as this, which is actually we're actually getting better at this process as any board that I've been on. So this is new territory for me. But what I was assuming is you were giving her feedback tonight so that she could come back with a revised plan to make sure that we're clear what it is we want her to do, so that and she's also giving us her ideas what she thinks needs to be done. It's not just one-way street here. I agree that I don't think Jill and I disagree. I think we should be specific with her, and she needs to be specific with us as to what is the goals that she will have to work on this year. And I'm concerned, as Commissioner Davidson, is that we're not overwhelming the situation so that we don't get a satisfaction that things have been a lot of things have been done real well, because there's been a lot of things that had to be done. I think we need to be careful about what is our real major goals that we really are serious about and want to see the super job done on. And I think we need to be careful about the amount of things we have her involved in. But we also need to agree on what it is we want her to be doing.
I think there's some questions there. Oh, sorry.
Evans?
I have our new procedure for evaluating the superintendent out of the exact specific purpose of this, although our timeframes have not been met specifically, is that the new board identified the priorities for the district. The superintendent is given 2 weeks response time. And then the superintendent's performance goals are finalized at the June meeting by incorporating what her work product is that identifies what she's going to do to meet the priorities of the district. So I agree, Keith, this is a new process that we're doing, but I think that's the exact feedback that we're giving, is that we're trying to say things like there need to be, what are the things that you specifically are going to do, what are the outcomes of those things going to be, what are those things, how are they going to be measured, and that, in a new contract, in a revised contract that currently exists, whatever, that we have our responsibility is to put those things into performance expectations in her contract.
Mr. Patrick?
My question is simply, do you feel like you have enough guidance from the board right now as to how you would like these goals to be revised in terms of specificity and how things are going to be delegated and what your priorities are going to be, or do you need to get more specific feedback? Would it be helpful to get more specific feedback with the?
I think a little bit of more specific feedback that is a consensus.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is that you'd like to go back to the SMART goals, which I am happy to do, and where I have a little confusion is I also think the board does have to have that discussion about goals and priorities and be really clear with each other as well as with me on board goal, board priority, and where, there were a couple of things brought up tonight that aren't actually listed under priorities necessarily, and so I think there needs to be a little bit more specifics and consensus among the board.
Yeah, I kind of want to jump in because I had a conversation with Patrick earlier that we felt like we might get to somewhere like this where there need to be some more specificity. And one thought I had possibly to the board was as the creation of a small group that's not, a small group to work with the superintendent on this. In this small group, my view would be representative of, a few of the various voices that we're hearing right now. This group representing, my guess would be 4 to 5 members.
Okay.
How specific do you want us to get tonight here, right now?
I think
do you want
that's your
me to
choice.
ask
I'm
you
fine with
questions?
walking
Are you
away from what I
comfortable
have, or
with one of my major concerns that I just throw out to you in public?
that you would like to see something specific around principals.
Yeah, or just how you would address this. So one of my major concerns is the turnover in principals.
Okay.
Okay?
So we've had a turnover of 4 out of 12 in
Yeah.
the last 7 years.
Yeah. Does that sound right to everyone?
I don't think it's exactly correct because we've had a couple multiples and it depends on how many versus how many.
Okay, so anyway, so my question is, how do we address this? What is it about the hiring, the recruitment, the hiring, the retention, that, I just hear rumors about what I know some of them are very specific cases of, people leaving, but I also sense there's a trend with principals who are hired from outside Vermont are leaving. And that kind of concerns me, that we bring in someone from outside who doesn't know the Vermont way and doesn't know the culture, and then they leave. And to me, I consider myself, I'm someone who's very open to change. Maybe it's because I've been around a lot, And I feel like, are we so insulated here that we can't handle new ideas coming into town? I mean, that's one of my questions that I have.
And it's a really good question. It actually is part of the discussions in the very early days of affirmative recruitment and hiring. And, as we said, one of the issues, as I said 6 years ago in the Free Press, one of the issues I think that Burlington has had, most of the state has, in hiring diversity candidates is that we tend to hire those who speak our language, who know Readers Writers Workshop, and I came in as an out-of-stater, and I've been told in another district in the state that I was an anomaly. It is something that is worth having a discussion on, because working with principals, I also get feedback. What supports is it, as they're going through the year, what supports did you get from me and from my central office? What supports do you wish you had gotten? And we've made some changes and things along the way in order to do that. But I think that it is a larger community question as well. And, in reference questions, how do we make sure that a person coming into the state knows what the state is like too? I mean, and that can come in conflict with our very desire to, if we're going to diversify our pool, we need to be going out of state. So it's a long, deep discussion that's happened before and can happen again, and happens with every hire.
It's just kind of an observation from something that you said, Mr. Chairman. Was that this was the first time that we've been this detailed, at least I believe you're phrasing it more of talking about this forum and this general process. And what that brought to my mind is that where we go from here moving forward, that it brought to my mind that this is a weakness of ours as a board as well, because in addition to our managerial and oversight responsibilities, insofar as we're here governing the school district, we are a team. And if we're not, if we don't have established a process where we're able to provide the supports and the feedback to the detailed extent that we as a board think that we should, then we're doing a disservice to the superintendent and to the establishment of the goals that we're wanting to see. And I'm just saying, as we move forward in this, we should make sure that we incorporate addressing that as much as we incorporate how the superintendent would address her responsibilities in this.
Are you saying